What's good, fam? It's your boy Tone Rock. Welcome back to Channel 316 Live, Episode 3 of Season 2. Man, seems like forever since I've been in the studio. I think we haven't been here since last month. But that's about to switch up. But we have a very special guest in the house tonight. And I know I usually do a recap of last week's episode, but since we didn't have an episode last week, and just going to share a little bit about what's been going on with me. Fortunately and unfortunately, I got moved to a new real estate company that I've been working with, and they have a lot of training. They have a lot of things going on that I've been involved in and participating with. So unfortunately, I haven't been able to come into the studio because a lot of the training is in the evening, and that's what I've been doing. So I'm kind of tightening it up now and switching the schedule of when I'm going to be able to be trained. And now I'm out doing what they trained me to do. So all that is going to switch up, and then I'll be back to regular schedule where I'll be able to be here Tuesday nights and recording not only Channel 316 Live, but Couples Gone Bible as well. We had to put that on the shelf for a little bit. But I know God's will is for us to minister and make that our priority. So we will be back here in the studio at 6 p.m. with Couples Gone Bible, and then 7 o'clock live here with Channel 316 Live. Now, like I said, we have a special guest in the house now. He's a repeat guest. We had him here last season 1, for episode 59, Robert Flournoy. But this time he's going to come back, and he wants to finish off what he was getting into last time at the end of the interview, and he was sharing some very important information. So I'm going to just have him reintroduce himself, and then he's going to get right into it. And there's a lot of information, so just open up your heart, open up your mind, and receive what God has for you this evening. Robert?
Thank you, bro. Yeah, thank you for having me to be here. Appreciate it. Allowing me to share the information that's came upon our family the last few months. Last time I was here, I was talking about my mother, Dolores Owens, who passed away last April 2025. Wow. What I didn't say much was what she passed away from, I believe, or how it happened.
Yes. Because
I was trying to keep it under, the Bible says don't give the devil a foothold.
That's right.
I didn't want to put it out there, and then somebody sees it, or maybe the family's up to something.
Right.
So now that the SIDRAP, the investigation from SIDRAP came out, done by Lisa Zabel, I'm going to just say what it was. My mother went and got her tooth pulled from a dentist, and they gave her an antibiotic called clindamycin. Clindamycin is what took my mother out, was clindamycin. This SIDRAP investigation speaks a lot about it. There's 3-part articles. There's 3 articles to it. There's a lot of information. I brought my laptop to make sure I was accurate. That's right. Not off memories,
yes,
but accurate. But like I said before, my mother was 92 years old. And let me kind of explain how my mother, again, describe my mother.
Sure.
At 92 years old, my mother was still washing clothes, cleaning the house, sweeping the backyard, watering her plants, cooked 3 meals a week. She was still cooking Christmas dinners and Thanksgiving dinners by herself. We talking about the turkeys, the hams,
right.
The greens with the ham hocks, everything. She was doing it all. And still at the same time, after she was done cooking, she was in the kitchen with my sister-in-law washing pans, dishes and pan.
She was working.
Yeah, at the same time, and making plates for us to go take home. And my 91-year-old mother.
Oh.
I'd say 91 because she didn't make it to Christmas this year because she passed away in 92.
Right.
But I want to let people know also that for the non-believers who may watch this, we believe as Christians we'll see our mother again.
Absolutely.
Non-believers may think, she just passed away and she's gone. But no, we believe in the hope that Jesus gave us that we'll see our mother again. And when my family enjoy it, we thank you, Lord, we'll see her again. Of course we miss her. You understand that.
Yes.
But we know we'll see her again. But like at 92, she was still shopping, grocery shopping.
She was active. She was doing her thing.
Doing her thing. I remember I would take time off with her. I would take days off from work to take her to the grocery store. Together, we shopped together. And then when we got home, she'd take the bags out herself and walk up the driveway and put them in the house. I'm serious. At 92 years old, she was doing her thing, bro.
I know you had, last time we were here, you had sent me a video of your mom, and she was dancing. She was in the kitchen cooking.
That's right.
That's amazing, bro. Not because of what she was doing, but the love that she still has. She had so much life in her still.
Yes, she did.
And I know just from you sharing and how highly you speak of your mother, how much you love her, bro. And that's from God. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. See, a lot of people will say, oh, she's just 92 years old, she lived her life. Yes, not a lot of people live to be 92. But you'd have to really know our mother, to know why we feel the way we feel. If we had saw her life, going down year after year after year, it's a whole different story.
Absolutely.
But that's not how it was with her. She was never in and out the hospital. She wasn't on a cane or a walker, nothing like that. So that's why we feel the way we feel. Like, what's going on? I asked the Lord, I still do, why you allow my mother to get sick like that? But the only thing that comes to my mind is she's with me. You got business to handle.
Right.
And that's what I'm here to do. Because a lot of non-believers and a lot of believers are being hurt by this antibiotic. So that's why I'm here, and I appreciate you opening up the doors and allowing me to speak about this.
I told you we'd bring you back, bro, and here you are. It's been a minute, but you're back. Now you have the information that you can share.
Right.
So this is God's timing, bro.
That's
so
right.
You got the mic, brother?
And it's backed up by professionals.
That part.
So it says, let me read this. Dentists still write millions of prescriptions a year for an antibiotic with life-threatening risks. Say that again. Dentists still write millions of prescriptions a year for an antibiotic with life-threatening risk. It says dentists wrote more than 2.3 million prescriptions last year for an antibiotic called clindamycin, whose label has carried a black box warning for more than 4 decades due to its high rate of life-threatening complications. On a black box warning, that means this is bad stuff. Yeah. And they've been knowing for 40 years the side effects, what it does to people.
Sometimes the side effects are worse than what you need to be healed from, right?
Yeah, because here's what happens. We go to the dentist and doctors, and we go there, and we've been knowing those doctors and dentists for a long time, and we trust them.
Right.
They're going to give us the medicine. We know, it's going to come, and we go get it, prescribed, with the prescription, we go get it, and we take it. Right? So it's just the relationship we built. I don't think every dentist and doctor is trying to hurt you.
No.
It's just the side effects of...
There's a potential for it.
And that's what happened. She trusted her dentist for years. The same dentist I go to, no longer go to. My brothers no longer go to, obviously.
But you were going to at the time.
You were going to the time, and trusted that with the antibiotics that what she was given was going to help her and heal her, but it was opposite. The side effects were diarrhea, nausea, vomiting. The side effects was that her intestines, it just messed her up, on the side. And I was there, like I said, all the way around. She got messed up. It's because of the antibiotics. And my brother, one of my brothers, were taking it like 2-3 weeks prior to that. And he was having some side effects, but he didn't know how deep it was. Right. He didn't know how bad the side effects were until after we started doing investigations. And we found out, oh man, this stuff is hurting people.
Right. And
not only did we find out through investigation it hurt our mother, but how many other people were being hurt from it. The American Heart Association, the American Dental Association does not recommend this anymore. Wow. But they're still using it. They're still using it.
They don't recommend it, but the dentists are still recommending it.
They're using it. Wow. It says a dangerous trend. Although taking antibiotic can lead to C. difficile, which was the antibiotic with clindamycin gives you C. diff, is one mom caught. She caught C. diff, which sickens 500,000. Let's read it over. Although taking any antibiotic can lead to C. difficile, which sickens 500,000 Americans a year and kills nearly 30,000, clindamycin has long been known to pose an especially high risk. It's been known,
yeah.
And what it does, it eats up your I'm so messed. I have so much going on right now. Not your intestine, your probiotics. You're so much in a mess.
Right.
That's why I always tell people, I got so much here. Just go to CIDRAP, 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 Dolores Owens, DOLORES OWENS, Owens, clindamycin. The articles will pull up, because this is information for everybody.
Right.
This is right now, you and I being proactive about this and trying to give people the information they need, because they say in the articles, when you go to a dentist, you don't not necessarily need antibiotics. You don't. Most people think they do, but they don't. And they automatically just take it from the dentist.
Right.
The question is now, the answers are now, the thing you need to do now is, do I need it? Do I really need those antibiotics you give me, dentist?
Right.
Really? They may say, no, you don't. Or do I really need clindamycin? No, you don't. You can use amoxicillin or something else. But they give you clindamycin, to what I read, because if you're allergic to penicillin, they'll give you clindamycin. But there's other things you can take.
Right.
If you don't need antibiotics, don't take them.
They still give penicillin? That's when I was a kid, and
right.
now then it would flip to amoxicillin, right? And then I don't know what they're giving out now, but yeah. And that's usually to prevent, or if you have an infection, right?
Yeah, that's what they do. They give it to you for that. But once again, you got to ask the dentist, do I really need, especially if they're going to offer clindamycin, which I told you the bad side effects. I have a friend that texted me like 2 weeks ago. He went and had his tooth pulled. And he goes, Robert, I asked the dentist tried to give me clindamycin, I denied it. He gave me amoxicillin. And then he said he asked the dentist, do you have any, how do you feel about giving that stuff out to people? He says, that's why we tell them to eat. To him, that wasn't good enough. He sent my mother's articles to his office, to their office, and said, read this stuff, because they're giving out clindamycin like candy.
Wow.
Yeah, here, it's Halloween.
Yeah.
You give it out,
Trick or treat, right?
Trick or treat, trick and no treat, bro. So it's just a lot going on with this. The guideline says, in recent years, professional societies have worked to educate healthcare providers about the risk of antibiotics, recommending that dentists restrict their use to relatively small group of patients with the greatest need of high risk. Antibiotics are a very, very precious resource and a finite resource, as said Permina Kumar, DDS, PhD, sorry if I didn't say your name right, an ADA spokesperson and chair of pediatrics and oral medicine at the University of Michigan School of Dentistry. They must be reserved for a time when it's required and always be conserved for the patients who need. So basically, you say in these articles that when you take a lot of antibiotics, you start getting resistance.
Right.
When
Or they start them and don't finish them.
Yeah. Yes, right. But when your body starts getting resistant to them, then what do you do? How are you going to take antibiotics?
What's next? Yeah.
That's why they're saying don't ask for antibiotics if you don't need them. Don't take them if you don't need them.
Right.
If your dentist is your dentist and your doctor, okay, can I take something else? Well, they can say, well, take this. Well, then, of course, then I'll take it. But I don't need any antibiotics. I won't take them.
It could do more harm than good.
Yeah, at some point, yes, because then your body's resisting.
Yeah.
And you may need it for something, and the body's saying,
Can't help you.
Can't help you. So it says, antibiotics are a very, very precious resource and finite resource. They must be reserved for a time when it is required, and always be conserved for the patient who needs it. Significantly, the dental profession has no guidelines for the use of antibiotics in a dental implants or tooth extraction. Suda said, about half of all antibiotic prescriptions written by dentists are associated with these two procedures. Dentist Suda said, are using the best information they have prescribed what they feel is safe for their patients. Alternatives to clindamycin. Given my mother's age, it says a higher risk of developing C. diff infection that most dentist patients, said Ryan Mays, MD, an infectious disease specialist and professor of medicine and anesthesiology at Wake Forest University School of Medicine. Although there are no official guidelines on antibiotic use, the single tooth extraction, the procedures that Owens, my mother, underwent multiple evidence review have found no benefits to prescribing them. Although there are no official guidelines or antibiotics used for a single tooth extraction, the procedures that Owens, my mother, underwent multiple evidence review that have found no benefits of prescribing them. So they're giving antibiotics, I guess it sounds like to me, when you really don't need them.
Right.
It's
unnecessary.
Unnecessary. And we all go to the dentist at some point, right?
All the time, yeah.
Whether you're going to get your teeth cleaned or
A deep
tooth
cleaning,
pull, a deep cleaning,
extraction,
or something,
a
crown,
a filling.
Yeah, you're filling. You're going to go to the dentist. And like I said, I'm just trying to be proactive for everybody right now. Take your life into your own hands. Take your life in your hands. That's the right word to say it. Take your life in your hands. Learn. I'm not trying to scare anybody.
Do your research.
Yeah, do your research.
I mean, you see it on any prescription. It lists the possible side effects, right?
Yes.
And you read some of those, and you're like, "Wow, that, like I said earlier, that seems worse than what you're trying to be healed from or cured from," and yet they're just keep prescribing them over and over and over again. 30,000 deaths. That you would think that's a number that they would be alarmed by, and be like, "Man, 30,000 people passed from this last year. How do we prevent this from happening? How do we keep these numbers down? How do we reduce this numbers from this happening?"
I don't honestly. I would say that we have to take it in our own hands. We have to do our own part. Once again, I mean, do we really need antibiotics when we go to the dentist? If they say no, then don't take them. This stuff right here, according to what I've read, it really affects people in a higher age, 65 and older.
Yeah, the elderly, yeah.
Yeah,
Seniors.
but I know somebody who was 30 years old. Somebody told me that works for a hospice, 30 years old. They caught it. They had C. diff too.
Wow.
But you can catch C. diff in the hospital. They say hospitals aren't clean.
Yeah.
They're
supposed to be, right?
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
But sterile, but
yeah. So this part
we've
says
heard stories about that. Yeah.
It says this lady was watching her grandmother battle the infection which kills nearly 30,000. This was About a week ago, about once a week, Erin Kennedy, DMD, MPH, treats patients with complex dental infections who need antibiotics. She writes these prescriptions with care because she knows the harm they can cause. In 2015, Kennedy's grandmother suffered multiple infections with a superbug called Cholestasis difficile, also known as C. diff, the same thing my mom went through, or C, which is associated with the antibiotic use. Watching her grandmother battle the infection, which kills nearly 30,000 people in the United States each year, was really devastating, said Kennedy, Assistant Dean for Curriculum and Integrated Learnings at Kansas City University College of Dental. That's why, like I said, this is all backed up by professionals.
Right.
I'm not sitting there telling you anything that I just wrote up myself or just,
Googled.
Google. No. This was investigated by Liz Zabel. I'm going to tell you, Liz, I know you're going to see this. I appreciate you once again. My family appreciates you once again doing this investigation. I know that I sent an email to another, I won't say who they are because they know each other,
Right.
but they sent me to Liz, and Liz writes articles. Like, I think she was writing something about COVID, she said, and she was going to get back to me. And then the next following week, I got back to her, and we started talking, and then she started. My friend asked me the other day, he says, Robert, how did I write these articles? I said, I didn't write the articles. I said, I gave the information. Liz asked me questions, and I gave information.
Mm-hmm.
And it was hard, because I had to relive everything, and I'm still reliving it now, but that's okay. I told the Lord I'm going to keep all the pictures and videos in my phone of my mother, because as a person who does community outreaches a lot,
Right.
I take pictures and videos of everything. So I got pictures of my mother in the hospital. I got my pictures of my mother when she was at home passing away. I have all that stuff.
Right.
And I got pictures and videos of her walking, all that stuff. So all that stuff that with Liz, she asked me those questions. I had to relive it, and email her. And I was crying. I was in pain. I'm crying. But the only way for me to get these articles like this was because I had to do it.
Right.
And if I didn't give her the information,
That she wouldn't be able to share it, yeah.
she couldn't be able to share it. I wouldn't be able to share it with your people who may be watching this as well. Because, like I said to somebody else before, I said I've been doing community service for 40 years, feeding the hungry and all that stuff, and clothing the naked. If I can do that, I can help for over 40 years, God willing, unless the Lord comes a day, come Jesus quickly,
Right.
then I can help this way too, help fight
Yeah, for sure.
this way.
And it's something that you were affected by, the loss of your mother, so that's something dear to your heart.
Yeah, a whole family, a whole family's behind this stuff, and we filed against the dentists,
Mhm.
the state of California, to have them investigated, and we'll see what's happening with that.
Right.
So doctors and dentists have been aware of the risk of, listen to this, doctors and dentists have been aware of the risk of inappropriate prescribing antibiotics for decades. In addition to causing C. diff infections, overuse of antibiotics increases the risk of antimicrobial resistance, there we go, AMR, which occurs when the bacteria is involved to become difficult or impossible to kill. AMR contributes to an estimated 5 million deaths worldwide each year. So in other words, once again, we're going back to
5 million.
5 million deaths. So in other words, we're taking too much antibiotics. And do we need them? Not for everything.
No.
So unfortunately, this is all going. I mean, I'm glad this was done because this is opening up a can of worms.
Right. That's just big pharma for you, bro. They're not in the wellness business. It seems like they're more in the distribution business, if you know what I'm saying.
Right. It says, although doctors are prescribing fewer antibiotics, a SIDRAP News investigation has found that dental antibiotics use has remained stubbornly high. Although doctors are prescribing few antibiotics, a SIDRAP News investigation has found that dental antibiotics use have remained stubbornly high for years. In a 3-part series this week, SIDRAP News is investigating why overuse of antibiotics remains common in dentistry.
Right.
We all got to go to the dentist sometime, y'all.
Unless you want your teeth to rot.
Now, they do say in these articles that one of the professionals says that, obviously we need to brush our teeth, night and day. And at the same time, how about brushing your teeth during the day after you eat?
Mm-hmm.
You ever see people some people brushing their teeth in the restrooms, whatever.
Brush your teeth, they're flossing.
They're
using
flossing,
toothpick,
yes,
yeah.
because, obviously they don't want the pain and suffering of have to go to a dentist. But, so SIDRAP News is investigating why overuse antibiotics remains common in dentistry, as well as steps that policymakers and consumers can take to reduce the risk of harms. as well as steps that policymakers and consumers can take to reduce the risk harm. That's something that my family wants to do right now is hopefully the government get involved in this. You know, I'm out speaking like this.
Right.
You know, the more, you know how it works, the more you're out speaking, sooner or later somebody's going to listen.
Someone's going to hear it, right?
Somebody's
the right
going to hear
person.
it. Yes, I've done 2 podcasts already. You're the 3rd one. And I'm going to put it out there, keep putting it out there. I'm going to push these things. And I met some people that's supposed to hopefully help, like they said they're going to help. And we need the government and the state legislation to get involved. We need the FDA to get involved in this to let them know, hey, just clindamycin is still being pushed by dentists. What's happening? Look how many people are dying. Look at the side effects. Why are they still doing this?
Why are they allowing it?
Why are they allowing it? You know, all kind of questions, right? I know in this article it says something about them going to school to learn, you know, about this stuff, take classes.
Mm-hmm.
Am I against clindamycin? Well, I'm against it because what happened to her mother, of course.
Right.
But I do know it also has positive things, you know, that it can do for people. So it's like Liz Zabel did, she said in a podcast that, you know, antibiotics are good for people who have cancer. It helps, right? It helps people with certain things.
There's pros and cons and everything, right?
Yeah. So not that antibiotics are bad, is that a lot of this stuff is saying that in this article that are saying is that this clindamycin is a killer,
right,
and it affects lives and it hurts people, and that we need to be, you know, more cautious about and more informed when we go to the dentist. And I say I'm dentist because that's what happened to her mother. It was a dentist.
Right, it was at the dentist.
Yeah. It could be doctors doing the same thing, you know, I don't know. But it's because the dentist, and I think we go to the dentist, well, I won't say more than doctors, but we do go to the dentist a lot,
right,
you know.
Let's say regularly, yearly, right?
Right, regularly.
They suggest we go every 6 months or something like that.
Get your teeth clean and this and that, and check up. It says, like the opioid epidemic, antimicrobial resistance has been fueled by legal prescriptions from well-meaning healthcare providers, including dentists. Tackling the problem requires a broad-based effort, said Kennedy, a board member of the nonprofit Association for Dental Safety, ADS, who leads the group's efforts to prescribe antibiotics more judiciously, a practice known as antibiotic stewardship. That's something that dentists need to learn. You know, don't give it out. Learn that. They should learn that. They should already. There's things in here that talks about a system that they can monitor who's been on, who's had C. diff, who hasn't.
Right.
You know, stuff like that. That way they're more cautious about.
They're more aware.
More aware. Yeah, there's a lot here. Not everything here is against it. I'm just telling you, and there's things about what you can do and dentists can do.
And then continued education, right? Because there's always things that are coming out in the medical field that are new, whether it's medicine, whether it's treatments. So they need to stay updated on what's coming out and what are the possible side effects.
Right.
And what are, you know, all the research that comes behind it.
Right.
Because they don't never release anything unless there's been research and studies, case studies, and independent all these things have to happen prior to that hitting the market.
Right. Yeah, you have to. You know, people will go in there and get paid to take medicine and take shots, and then that's how you learn about the side effects. So this happened to them people. That's how they learn about it, right? Dentist Professional Society, state boards of dentistry, and patients all need to play a role, she said. With enough will, the strategies that led health care providers to prescribe fewer addictive painkillers have potential to transform how dentists use antibiotics. Strategies that led health care providers to prescribe fewer addictive painkillers have the potential to transform how dentists use antibiotics. Antibiotic resistance impacts us all, Kenneth said. The problem is so great that we are all called to action.
Yeah, that's a big theme, the painkillers, right? People get addicted to them, and then they need them. Now they're addicted. It ain't even about the whatever they were experiencing. The pain is gone. Yeah. Now it's just an addiction of prescribed drugs.
My mother was in the hospital. Tylenol didn't work for headaches no more, so they wanted to give her, I'm trying to remember what it was a stronger pill. She said, just give me a piece of it. Mm-hmm. She didn't want to get addicted to it, 90 years old. You know, I knew that's what it was. She said, no. She wanted to get addicted to the pain pill, the pain pill, even though she was going through a lot. We've seen a lot, the vomit bag. She held a vomit bag on her hand every day. Mm-hmm. You know, the massive headaches. You know, her legs and arms and knees swell up. Her skin looked like it was coming off. You know, in the article, my niece, they wanted to put lotion on her arm, but she was afraid it was going to tear off. Her skin was going to tear. it was so much, man, that we saw her go through. 92-year-old woman, my mother, because she went to the dentist. Not because her health was going down, because she went to a dentist. She went to a dentist and took an antibiotic that gave her C. diff. Clindamycin gave her C. diff and swelled her colon up. The surgeon came in and told my mother, which he did it like 2 or 3 times. He told my mother in front of me and my dad, he said, most people your age just said, let me die. You know, I was like, I was like, what's wrong with this man? Just saying that to my mom.
Right.
Kept telling her, do you want an operation? She's like, no, I don't want an operation. She's 92 years old. You think my mother would last an operation, her stomach taken out,
Right.
and a bag on her side,
No, in your research, what is the survival rate from someone that contacts that?
C. diff?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think I read it in here earlier. You can catch it again. You can take antibiotics. You can take clindamycin, from what I read. You don't catch it immediately. You can catch it 2 months later.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And how long did that ordeal last with your mom once she contracted it? And how long
Before she caught it?
Yeah.
3 days before she started feeling the side effects.
Wow.
3 days.
So that was quick.
Yes.
And then how long
a day.
did she suffer with that?
She went to the first hospital. First hospital she went, and they released her a week later on with antibiotics for colitis.
Uh-huh.
Colitis comes from C. diff. They didn't check her for C. diff, so she was on antibiotics. We had family members that came like from different states that spent the night with my mother. She was never alone, to making sure that she was taking her antibiotics on time. I personally took days off from work, and you know how when you're a baby and you're scared at night and you wanted to sleep in the bed with your parents because you were scared.
Right.
I slept next to my mom in a bed to make sure that she was on time with her medicine, and she got well. She got better. I started making her like eggs and toast in the morning. She's getting better. I was walking with her, helping her walk, and then she got bad. It got bad on her again. She started getting sick again, and then we rushed her to St. Joseph's Hospital. I'll say it, St. Joseph's Hospital. And when she was in the ICU unit. I think it's what ICU. That's what it's called. They asked her what happened, and she told the story. It was clindamycin, and she told the story how she was at the hospital. They didn't check. Immediately they said, it sounds like C. diff, which
Right.
comes from clindamycin, and that's what it was, C. diff. So they kept her, and they all night. I was there. Man, it's just the memories of they continue waking her up 2 hours and giving her antibiotics, different antibiotics in her hands, or putting things in her hands, or they put what's called stench on her arm. Her veins were so thin that you couldn't put a needle in there, so they couldn't find them. They had to come in one of those machines. I forgot what it was, a scan to try to find her veins.
Oh, wow. I never seen that.
Yeah, they do it for babies too, I think. Right?
I every time I go get blood work done,
Yeah.
they could never find maybe this one, but other than that, like you don't see my veins popping out. Or
Yeah,
nothing, right?
yeah.
And they're poking.
Yeah. So they had to use one of the machines to try to find her vein, and because she couldn't eat because she was so nauseated, and I'm going deeper now. I never spoke about this. They started feeding her with a bag. They put it in her vein. It's like it's a bag
like
of
a feed
food.
tube.
And they told my mother, she never told my mother at St. Joseph Hospital. They said, you need to start eating because this stuff will clog up your vein like oil.
Wow.
Stupid stuff like that, man. I'm sorry to say that, man. Just stuff like that. I'm listening to these people like, why would you tell my mother that? She's trying to get healthy. And you're telling my mother. And I have all these notes. I got tons of notes. She went through all that, and she couldn't eat. And now we try to feed her. She couldn't eat. I know she's thinking, she's laying there, and I'm going to say it. She's laying there, and she was bedridden. She came in walking and bedridden. So obviously she's in a pan on the bed doing her thing in a pan, right? She's like 92-year-old woman. Remember, 92-year-old woman that married. She's married, but didn't need nobody to carry her to the restroom, act with everybody else. Now she's laying in the bed using the restroom on herself because of clindamycin did to her. So how's my 92-year-old mama feeling? I've been all my life I've been strong doing this thing, and now this is what took me out.
Right.
So she's doing this, and I watched all that. Obviously, I wasn't in there when they changed her, had to leave, and you had to actually robe up with gloves because it was almost like COVID,
Right.
in my opinion, because you couldn't touch it with skin because you can catch it.
Yeah.
So
I didn't know that.
yeah, that's how bad it was, and you had to wear gloves. So we're touching her with gloves. She want chapstick on her mouth, so we got to put chapstick on her mouth. Her lips be dry, they have to put chapstick, wearing a glove. You know, we couldn't touch her because
So you
it's
couldn't have that
contagious.
physical touch because of that.
Yeah, it's contagious. Now, my good friend, I'm going to say his name, and I hope you're okay with this. My good friend, Congressman Lou Correa, which I've known him since 2011, he visited her twice. On a Sunday, a Saturday he went over there, and then on a Sunday he went over there. And I'm sure he had the gown up, put the gloves on, right? So he took a chance of catching that stuff as well.
Right.
But he cared that much for my relationship that he went and visited her, you know, and helped her and brought her some flowers, you know. And I told that brother, I love you, man, for doing that, because you didn't have to do that, but you did. So that's how bad it was with it, man. It's just very contagious, very, very contagious. Her knees, like I said, her knees swell up. I tell a story which I fought against St. Joseph Hospital already. I fought against them. My mother was in the bed and bedridden, remember. Now she's bedridden. Right. And they wanted to take her to the restroom. So they asked my mom, going to go to the restroom, and I saw them try to pick her up, and then I moved my head because I didn't want to see, because she's in a gown. So she's in the restroom, and I hear them saying, Miss Owens, Miss Owens. I'm like, what the heck? She's not responding. I know she's weak, and I walk in there, Mom, and she's leaning on, she's covered up, and she's on the toilet, just shaking like this, about to fall over. Weak, very weak. And I said, Mom, and she looked. And then one of the girls, she said, get a wheelchair, get a wheelchair. They try to take her off in a wheelchair, and they try to put a strap around her. But the girl goes, how do you work the strap? How do you work the strap? I'm like, these girls don't know what they're doing in here.
Right.
Next you know, I'm seeing that she's falling off the toilet, falling off the seat from the toilet. She's falling off and hitting her knees on the ground. She's on the ground like this.
She fell forward.
She fell forward. And I'm like, pick her up. I'm like, she's dead weight. She's dead weight. So what they do, they hit the emergency button. We need men in here. We need men in here. We need men in here. Beep. Everybody's running from around the corner. Beep. I'm walking down the hallway crying. And what? I walk back, and she's laying in the bed. She can barely breathe, you know. And I'm like, what's up with these people, man? So I just thought about it after a while. So wait a minute. So one of my nieces said, Grandma's got a scab on her knee. It's from the fall on the bust of the knee. I saw her on her knees. Mm. So yes, they messed. Yeah. So I fought against St. Joseph Hospital. I sure did. Are you listening? I fought against you. You know what they did to my mother, and we fought against the dentist. There's just so much we've seen, man, and just so much we've seen going on in there. And like I told you earlier, you know, I don't like the sounds that I hear. The beeping sounds.
Wow. You went through a lot.
Yeah, I went through a lot. So anytime I hear a sound, it sounds familiar. I'm like, I don't like that sound.
It's trauma, yeah.
It's trauma. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think anybody would go through that and then not have that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 3 weeks of listening to it. Beep, 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 beep. Medicine run out. I got to call the ladies. My mother needs this, and they get mad at us because we're always on them. Hey, because they got a lot of people they have to watch. I understand that. But this is our mother. Yeah. You know, she's in there for what reason? Because she went to the dentist.
So just think about all the people that don't have a loved one watching over them.
There was a lady next door to her, and I said that to my mom. I said, there's a lady nobody's visiting. I said, Mom, she's got to be alone. She's like, hello. I'm like, I can't just walk in there.
Yeah, of course.
And she's all by herself. My mom was never left alone. Not 1 minute. When there's 2 or 3 people in there, we go eat. Somebody will stay there. Then we alternate. She's never by herself.
And others, nobody goes, nobody cares. They're on their own.
I never seen my mama scared in my life until one night when I was there, and she woke up. You here?
All right, brother. Take your time.
I said, yeah, Mom, here. I heard you. I never seen her scared in her life, man. Not that you're a strong woman, you know. And I just imagine, man, how does she feel laying there now? I mean, always the strong one, you know.
Right.
I would spend like 4 days a week over there with them, you know, my mom, my dad, you know. Even after work, I make salmon for my mama for healthy stuff. I mean, I was just doing all kind of things, man.
Whatever you could to make her comfortable.
Whatever I could, yeah. Whatever I could, and to make things right, and then thank you, and then to see all this happen, man. You know, it's just, and I wonder sometimes, you know, one of my biggest prayers right now, and I tell my brothers that God would just either let my mom appear, give me a 5-second little meeting with her, or now give me a vision. Just like right now, I'm talking to you. I see a vision. She's talking to me,
Right.
and it's gone because I don't want to remember what I seen. I don't
Right.
remember.
You don't want that memory.
No,
over.
no, I don't want to remember
You
the
want to
bed.
remember
and,
the good times, the happy times.
Yeah, I don't remember all the struggle she went through. I want to remember she laughed at everything. You know, she laughed at everything. She's always a laugher and joker, man. Very strong woman, and like I said, when she did that, when she fell in the house in the restroom, you know, I'm thinking, these people, man. It's like, and she'd sit there in the bed and she just stare. What are you staring at, Mom? What are you thinking about? She just, I don't know how I caught this, right?
So for most of the part, she was coherent, like she
Yes.
could talk and she
Yeah.
could communicate.
And like I said, I think last time is when she decided, you know, enough's enough of this. They wanted to she lost blood. They want to give another blood transfusion. She said, enough's enough. I was at home and I got the text, and they said, Mom said that she's done. And I said, okay. And she said she just wanted to go home to go see her parents, her two sons, and her best friend who died of COVID. And it was this thing called clindamycin that we're talking about right now that took my mother out. You know, they got her sick. That's why I want to warn everybody right now, man. It's just be careful when you're taking those antibiotics when they want to give you clindamycin.
Right. So as we wrap this up, bro, what last words do you want to share with the audience, bro? Not only I would say a warning, you know, to give them that information so they could do their research.
Yes.
Because a lot of people hear this podcast and they, you know, maybe they're not taking notes. You know, we hear one thing, goes in one ear,
Yeah.
out the other, right? So where would you lead them or guide them to start their research?
Well, like I said, go to CIDRAP, 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 Dolores Owens, DOLORES, Owens, WOWENS, clindamycin, and then it'll pull up my mama's article. And once again, when you go to the first page, it's going to tell you to go to where it says here, and then it's going to pull up 3 articles. I'm telling you this not to be afraid to take antibiotics, but don't. A lot of people don't want to know about the side effects. That's fine. They just want to get well.
Right.
I'm just letting you know about clindamycin because I know what it's done to people and what it's doing to people. What it did to my mother. And when you take antibiotics, there's some things that you can do to protect yourself. You know, you can eat differently. You know, there's a lot of stuff you can take. Google it. What can I take to eat when I?
Because usually most medications say eat with the meal, right?
Yeah,
Take with the meal.
besides more than that, just like you can eat fermented stuff, eat yogurts, stuff like that, to put the probiotics back in your stomach, because the antibiotics will start eating away at it, and it's the best thing to do to cover yourself is just Google it. I just want everybody to know that share this. Share this to your friends, share it to family members, share the articles, let them know. You know, I've had family and friends do it already, and they've thanked me for it, you know, because they were able to have the knowledge and know when I walk in a dentist, I'm not just going to you know, take the first antibiotic you give me. I need to ask questions. Do I, like I said before, do I really need antibiotics, or don't need antibiotics? So do some research also. This is very good information that I think that everybody needs to read, and don't be afraid of it. Just learn from it.
Don't be afraid to ask questions to your doctor, because that's why they're there.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be able to answer those questions. When the whole thing happened with COVID, I'm like, no, I'm not taking this. What are the side effects?
Yeah.
He didn't know because there was a white label. There was nothing on it.
Yeah.
And I go, how could you prescribe something to me so passionately when you don't even know what the side effects could be?
Right.
I'm not taking. And we got an argument after a 28-year relationship.
Right.
He was my doctor.
Maybe you're saying that.
And I'll say this, that most people, I'm 56, going to be 57. Your parents are already elderly.
Mm-hmm.
If they're 25 years older than you, you know, you're already looking at in their 80s.
Yeah.
And a lot of times their doctors are prescribing them medications. Ask questions. Take the time to visit with the doctor and say, hey, you prescribe this to my mom, to my dad, to my uncle, whoever it is, because a lot of times they're taking care of relatives, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I read these side effects. Is there anything else they could take?
Yes.
Is there something else that we could do holistically? Just ask the questions, because if you don't ask, you're not going to get any information. I mean, they even tell you when you go pick up your medicine, do you have any questions?
Yeah.
And most people say no, they just want to get out of there, right?
Yeah.
ask the questions. Don't be afraid to ask the questions because that could save somebody's life.
Yeah, I had a friend that, I know we got to go. I had a friend that texted me. She said, Robert, what was that medicine again that your mother passed away at clindamycin? And she goes, okay, thank you. They tried to give it to my dad. He was like 80. He said, no, she's not going to take that. And they gave her something else.
There you go. So as we end this, bro, thank you for sharing because I know this is something that's from your heart and the love that you have for your mom and as a warning to others that, be aware. Don't just take what they give you. If you're not sure, ask questions, do your research, see if there's any alternative medications that you can take. And just why don't you end this off with some prayer, bro, for those that are out there. Whatever God puts in your heart, bro. Go ahead.
Lord, we just come to the name of Jesus, the name above all names, Lord. You know why I'm here today, Lord, to share what happened to my mother and to help other families, Lord, that to prevent them from going through the same thing. I ask that they take heed to what I just said and they listen and they would check the articles out so they can be more informed. Lord, I couldn't go through everything tonight. I just went through a skim through it, some information, but they need to read this, Lord God, to protect themselves, protect their parents. Like Tony said, our family members, our parents are getting up there in age, and it affects the elderly more than the young, Lord. And I just need you, Father, just to convict us, Lord God, convict us all who are watching this to be more informed and take charge of their lives and their family lives. And not everybody, Lord, has a good relationship with their parents, Lord, but still we are called to love our family, our parents, Lord, and honor them, Lord. So I just thank you for the day, Father, in Jesus' name.
Amen. All right, there you have it. Our guest, Robert Flournoy. Thank you, brother, for coming back and sharing that information. And, we had an opportunity to minister 2 weeks ago?
Yeah. Over
there in Pomona, and I know you got some other stuff coming up. Is there anything you want to share as far as moving forward, what you got coming up?
Just going to be... I'm not exactly where it's at the top of my head. I'll be singing out there, but my goal right now, so you guys know, is to push this more than anything else. This is my drive. This is the family drive.
Do you have any other podcasts or anything coming up?
I got a couple podcasts that I've done already. I'll share. I'm trying to get on King Cyrus's podcast when it's available. I got things I'm working on. If you have any questions you want to ask me about this, that I can speak to you about what happened to my mother, or kind of go over this with you myself, just hit me up at Robert at loaveandfishes10.com. That's Robert at LOA, V as in Victor, ESANDFISHESX10.com. And if you think that you may want me to come speak at your church or something about this, because this stuff needs to go out, just contact me and let me know, and we can try to set something up.
All right. There you have it. So thank you for joining us tonight. I hope that was helpful. I hope that was informative for you. And like I said, ask questions. Ask and you shall receive, right?
Amen.
We probably are. Yes, we are going to be here next week. We're going to be here next week on the 31st, Tuesday, 7 p.m. And then I will be making some announcements for the near future of what we got planned here for Channel 316 Live and for Couples Gone Bible, but more importantly for Avanza Network. So tune in Tuesday night, 7 p.m., Channel 316 Live. See you there. God bless.